Hello and welcome for the solo playthrough of Advanced Squad Leader. We are playing around the village of Babao, another sequence of the battle we started with J231. Now we are playing J232 Aussie Spirit, which is a design also by Simon Spinetti and Andy Rogers. I was pleased to see in the comments and Andy appreciating my playthrough, even though I reckon I made, of course, some errors. The most important one being I forgot that the Australians are stealthy after the rules, which has, of course, a bearing on the ambush DRs mostly. So, as I noticed that error only after I had recorded all the videos, I decided that I had to make another video on the following scenario. And it's interesting because the Australians will be on the attack. I'll read the historical part, and we'll look at the scenario card and set up the units. So previously the cooks and other second liners, but also some elite Australians managed, contrary to history, to stem the Japanese attack. Now we have Japanese occupying the village of Babao, and other Australians in a better shape will try to wrest the village from them. So, and in reality, they failed doing it properly. So, as this video is about setting up and seeing the details of the scenario card, if you have it at your place, perhaps you'd be more interested in looking at the following videos, which will see the game unfolding, or just you scroll forward to see the setup. I will read the historical setting just so you can have an idea. So we are at Babao, West Timor, on the 20th of February 1942, the same day as the previous scenario. With the Japanese invasion of Timor well underway, the commander of Sparrow Force had been placed in a quandary: to defend the airfield and potentially be overwhelmed quickly, or fall back to continue the fight. Vital to either option was the single road to the east. It was the only supply line for Sparrow Force and the only route that gave access to eastern Timor. On this vital road was a force of Japanese paratroopers who had dropped earlier in the day to the northeast of Babao, and after a hard fight with rear area Allied troops, that was the previous scenario, now stood astride this road at Babao. The mobile reserves of Sparrow Force was Company D from 2/40th Battalion under Captain Alan Trevena, or Trevena, I don't know, a unit raised from the Australian southern state of Tasmania. They had spent the morning moving east along this road, and after being strafed and subject to other delays, reached a point about 500 yards west of the village. Here Company D deployed to move into Babao, determined to sweep through and clear the road to the east. The aftermath of the scenario says the 3 platoons of Company D moved forward as a line encountering heavy resistance. Despite this, 16 platoon on the left forced its way into the village and inflicted heavy casualties on the Japanese. Meanwhile, the rest of the company pressed forward through heavy machine gun and mortar fire to engage the paratroopers in close quarters fighting. Many Japanese were killed, and a number of automatic weapons were captured in this fighting. Even though the Australians had cleared most of the village, approaching darkness, heavy fire on the flanks, and uncertainty about the Japanese force in the area made Trevena consider his position unviable. The Australians again retreated from the village, leaving it to the Japanese after inflicting heavy casualties on them. The storm over Timor was starting to increase in intensity. So here is the scenario card. We will see the victory conditions seem slightly complicated, but they are quite easy to understand. Provided they control 8 or more huts within 4 hexes of P7, the Australians win at game end by controlling 4 or more non-hut building locations. We'll quickly look at the map now. So I'm going to zoom on it. So here you see I delimited here the hexes around P7. So the huts here, I didn't put V's on them, but the Australians must control 8 of them at least. How many are there at the beginning? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So all but 2. And 4 buildings, at least 4 buildings. So the market counts even if it's not in that that range, but you have the 4 others: the mill, the police station, the church. I don't know what's beside it. Perhaps the pastor's house. I don't know. You don't know. The missionary's house, or you don't know. And the market. Okay, there we are. We won't look at the balance because we're playing the scenario as it is. It lasts 5 turns and a half. The preceding was 6.5, so it's quite fast. So the Japanese here, 6 first liners in full strength, 3 striped, so reduced squads of the same level, a half first level squad, and a crew, of course, to man the medium machine gun, 2 average leaders, 1 medium machine gun, 2 light machine guns, 2 mortars. Okay, good deal. As you notice, there are no demo charges, so there will be no DC heroes running around, and tank hitting heroes are not allowed if you don't have any vehicles facing them. There were some gamey tactics of people deploying tank hitting heroes, in HIP and entering close combat even without tanks around. So the rules, if I recall properly, were revised. But anyway, in this setting, you won't have any suicide heroes, except the leaders who can launch banzai charges, etc. So facing them or coming, so they are in hexes number greater or as 3 or equal or greater than 3. So most of the map can be occupied by the Japanese, but they'll concentrate, of course, on the village. So coming from the west edge, that means the upper part of the map as it's oriented to the right. The north is on the right. 4 elite level, 8 squad first line, and 1 elite half squad. Okay, good leaders, average good, 9 minus 1, 2, 8, yeah, okay. 4 leaders, okay, and 4 LMGs and 3 mortars. So the special rules, we'll see the SP SSR, the Sparrow Force SSRs, which are quite simple, but just the note, of course, it was quite straightforward, but you need to indicate it in the special rules that the 347 first light squads are step reduced, okay? And each Australian mortar is considered to have S9 for its first smoke to hit attempt. So this is, of course, a hint that smoke will be something useful for the Australians to advance against the Japanese anyway. But it's a S7 normally, so it goes up to 9. You only have 1 chance in 12 to have really depleted your smoke, so they'll be able to fire it. Of course, not immediately, because as you see, the mortar R not yet assembled, so they can be carried quite fast. So here's our scenario. Of course, no. So yes, we must see the special rules. We're going to look at them a little more. Okay, perhaps even some zooming on the nice little little notes that you can now do. You can look at the previous series of scenarios and see how. So I put a reminder just not to forget, Australians are stealthy. Their light mortar has S9 for its first two-inch attempt. I should have put have because there are 3, but there we are. So flames, kindling, spreading, no flames. That's it. No bore sighting. So my Japanese will set up without bore sighting. So already simplifications. Japanese, no hidden initial placement, no HIP. The Japanese may generate to hit heroes, but of course that depends what they're facing. There are no tanks, so you forget. And SP8, Australian hand-to-hand. The Australians can declare a hand-to-hand quite like a Japanese actually. The terrain, all roads exist. Brush remains brush, so this is not bamboo. Very important. And kunai here costs only 1.5 for the infantry. It's maize field, okay? But all other kunai rules apply normally. That means especially, I presume, the +1 DRM if a unit advanced and tries to ambush in close combat. It's a noisy terrain. Rice paddies are in season, so we won't cover again the rules, but they work like inherent terrain hindrance, like grain fields. To move from 1 to 1, you must pay 1 more for the bank crossing, and you also can move along banks. But as you see, and I presume you noticed, the paddies are really out of the main weight of the battle, which of course will occur here. Perhaps some people come around here just to get the building. Yeah, you don't know, but you don't see a lot of paddies in this scenario. So if you are, let's see, shy about the paddies, but you quite easily can play them actually, with the rule of thumb that you don't move along banks under enemy fire. That's all. And otherwise, yeah, it's quite easier. In the previous battle, previous scenario, there was a lot of moving in the paddies, for the best or the worst. Perhaps was I right? Perhaps not. So this will be quite different as a situation. So the Japanese need to defend this place the best way possible. As you see, the Australians have a lot of hindrances along the way, and the palm trees don't cost a lot, so they can advance quite confidently before being sprayed by machine gun fire. The Japanese, of course, will start with some good positions. They can be around here, of course. So I'll try to make a setup from the tip of my hat. I don't think those things a lot in advance. As you notice, there are no dummy concealments, so the Australians will know that there are no dummies, and of course lifting different. So first thing I'm going to do is to deploy, because I only have 1 Japanese half squad, and the mortars I like to give them 2 half squads. So where can those sneaky little mortars hide? So the Australians can enter really from all over here. Of course, if they come here, they could, so, and run around here. So we'll see what we are doing, but we must anticipate that the main strike will, perhaps they'll take, hold of here and move here. That will be the best place, of course, moving here also. So 2-pronged attack could be interesting. So we must defend everything, okay? Well, we will be already distributing weapons and thinking afterwards about the setup. There we are. This half squad is not very. Oh, you know, the machine gun with the half squad. Okay. The best weapons with the best units, of course. There we are. So it's very tempting to put the machine gun here just to cover this road, place a fire lane, and force the Australians just to switch from one and another place. So I think I'm keeping here. I even could put them here because it goes through. Yeah, it doesn't leave the yes. 3. Let me see. 3, 6, 9, 10. Perfect. Okay. The mortars are not good against the huts, so we will perhaps more place units ready to hit the huts here and here. So now we need to spread around. I would say I think that some mortars here could make some sense, just to do some interdiction. Perhaps put them together. I don't do that a lot. I like to disperse things, but why not, finally? Well, that was a very strange thing occurring. I think you heard a little ringtone. Normally, my phone is not fixed to there's no communication between it and the computer, but it seems it did. So now I closed it, so we won't be annoyed too much. So let's go. So we have, and I'm not sure I'm going to center everything here, but it could be a good thing. I think, why not here? No, because you can place a nice file in here. I like to have some punch around the place. Those guys here, oh, those are more. Yeah, the problem is that they don't have any reinforcements, so putting the defense too much in the front at the same time having nobody in front will let the Australians have a lot of initiative. So I'm going to do my best to avoid some greatly enveloping situations. Well. Those already reduced people. I think I still will place a fire brigade here. Let's say here, a house squad here. They're very strong, so the Australians say, "Oh, there's a Schwerpunkt here." So you see, defense. Setting up a defense is always something that leaves a slight anxiety because you're saying, "Yeah, but if he does this, and if I miss that, and if I botch my thing, I'll get exploded." But not too bad. Not too bad. I know they also have a good protection. They can do a quite good fighting withdrawal. Let's place them together so they can fire group well. That's not too bad. Yeah. Yeah, this is quite good. And have those pray in church during that time. Yeah, this is enough for and having the good guys here. Okay. They'll place their sniper here in the middle of the village anyway. So that's the Japanese setup anyway. Nobody's looking, so they all concealed. But there's no surprise, no hipster. Normally Japanese have 10% hipsters, but not in this case. So the Australians know quite well what's happening here. Now, on the Australian side, how many squads do they have? 12, which means quite a lot of house squads. I think I'll deploy 2. There we are. It's always good to have some house squads to man the mortars in particular, and have some also to do some scouting, detection. There we are. So what could be their plan? The buildings, just to see, they are here, 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 here. The Australians could decide to put the weight here and forget the mill, or hit here. I think hitting here is interesting because even though there's more open ground, we can put some mortars in contributions. I'll put some here. They'll move here, and afterwards they can pepper this place with a lot of smoke. That's the idea. I think it's not a bad idea just to have a good force here advancing. Of course, give the machine guns the best guys. They must hold the line. They're not overpowered, but yeah, 4 elite guides, that's interesting. So they'll carry the brunt of the attack. So yeah, I know there's no machine gun, so I can advance here without getting fire lane in my teeth. That's the idea. So one normal squad, first liner, and elite here. Some courageous, bold people here. We are perhaps a scout with them. I think some pressure here, but yes, it's I know many. Okay. No, we must advance with good forces here. Okay. Down by no, we need some people over here just to keep the pressure on the Japanese. Give them some R squads here. There we are. And on this side, some reinforcements. Wait a moment, I'll put a hex grid so you see how they enter better. There we are, and I will place them just in the hex grid so you see things better. Oh, they can stack, no problem. They're out of LOS here. Why no, but why are they moving here? Yeah, but they could, they can, they would. Yeah, not too bad. So who's going to... Yeah, Alan will carry the most heavy weight of the situation. Cooper will come here. We need a good guy, and some Dixon here. I believe so. So main effort will come here. Of course. It's perhaps the longest way. I'm just asking myself because the mill is quite far away. Well, yes, but the Japanese are less expecting, and all those guys are not. Yeah, they'll have to shift a little. It could be amusing to have guys rush here, you see, and run, and try to get to the church. But really, in 5 turns and a half, you're losing perhaps 2 turns just to unhinge the defense. I think it's a little too much to be useful. So the stacking, of course, is off board. Afterwards, on board, we'll try to disperse a little. I need to ponder a little more about the way the Aussies are working, but I think it's interesting. So this group here will try to hitch this one, and this group here will of course advance here, keep the pressure, try to stop those guys. Anyway, they're more in a half defensive position, and here we have the main part of the troops, and of course from the second turn on the mortars will send some smoke. Those here, why not? I wonder. No, but smoke's also useful here, because I would like to put it. No, but that's really not very intelligent doing that. I think I'll put them there. Put them on that side, no problem. Anyway, they'll be visible. There we are, and the sniper of course will be placed, let's say here. When I realize that that label is so awful, I'm removing it. There we are. Oh, 26 minutes, not long. I'm removing the setup limits because it serves nothing, and we keep the perimeter. It's better. So there we are. So we will start. We have a British entering. I didn't put it on the side of the turn track, but there we are. This level of zoom I think will be the most interesting, and of course the Japanese could set up here, but I don't see the meaning, but you never know. So we'll zoom progressively. If nothing happens here, of course we'll be able to zoom a little, but for the moment we have a good vision. You see the compass with the north here. We're clearly coming from the west. So ladies and gentlemen, I presume more gentlemen than ladies, unfortunately, I think we're ready to start the fun in the next video. So again, I know that I make errors. I am very grateful if you point out some of them. If you manage to do it between scenarios, the good thing is that recordings, the good thing is that I can correct if needed, if I can, some big errors, but otherwise we go on. But it's always good to put even later some remarks in the comments, because other people looking will be also, it has a pedagogical aspect, just to point out, oh yes, you know, you should have used, let's say there was a remark about random selection in the case of multi-group fire group with cowering, and I forgot to do that. It had no bearing on the game, but just to remember some basic rules is really nice. So let's say see you later for the fun to start. Bye bye.